morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Takanori Shibata. Thank you for waiting. And today I'll talk about Paro. So this is a biofeedback medical device. And Paro has been used from children to elderly people. And the patients are a very variety of people who are with cancer, PTSD, brain injury, dementia, Parkinson's disease, and so on. But because of time, I'll majorly focus on the case of the elderly people, especially with dementia. So let me start my talk. I work for the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology of Japan. It's a government research institute. And so Paro has been developed by Japanese people's tax. So first, this is the contents of my talk. First, I'll explain about Paro. Especially, Paro is a combination of art and technology. So I'll try to introduce them briefly. And as a medical device, there are a lot of clinical trials, especially with more than 10 randomized controlled trials and some other meta-analysis and so on, that have shown the clinical evidence of Paro. And I'll briefly introduce them. And also, Paro has been integrated into the medical and welfare systems in some countries. And I'll also explain them. And I have now using Paro for supporting people who are in some difficult conditions, such as after the huge earthquake and also after the war, for example, or during the war. So for example, now Paro has been used for the Ukrainian refugees in Poland in order to improve their anxiety, stress, and also some other symptoms of PTSD. So I'll briefly introduce it. And also, I'm proposing Paro to be a companion for astronauts, especially in the long-term mission, such as mission to Mars. And I'll just show a picture or image. So we are having some analog missions, and we are evaluating the therapeutic effect of Paro to analog astronauts. So basically, I have been working on this topic since 1993, so for 30 years. And some of you have never existed at the time, but I have been working on them. And I started to investigate the animal therapy because animals are very good for human beings. But the people do not expect animals to work on some tasks like cleaning or cooking. But still, people love them. And I wondered, what is the role of animals? So they are useless in terms of work, but the people love them. They have a great role to enrich our life psychologically. So animal therapy is one of the examples of the application of animals. So there are three kinds of benefit from animal to human beings. First is psychological merit. Second is physiological merit. Third is social merit. So animals are very good, and also animal therapy are very nice. However, there are some problems of owning or using animals in therapy. So some people have allergy, some people are afraid of bites and scratch. And there is a potential of infection from animal to human beings. And some apartments do not allow us having animals, especially in Japan. And also at hospitals, nursing homes, and some other facilities, it's very difficult to keep or manage animals there. So I thought for such people and for such places, animal type robot would be very nice. And as for the social issue, aging is one of the great important topic. So this is a map of the world in 2015. Darker blue color means higher ratio of elderly people who are more than 65 years old. Japan, Italy, Germany, they have a kind of darkest color. But by 2050, most countries are becoming darker colors, except Africa. So aging is a world kind of concern or issue. And dementia is another problem. So far, there are about 15 million people who are suffering from dementia. And the number will increase to 75 million people in 2030. And as for the cost of medical and welfare service, it was estimated about 1 trillion US dollars in 2018. And it will become 2 trillion US dollars by 2030. So it's huge cost for the society. So I'm trying to contribute to further improve the situation by introducing Paro. So let me show you one video that was introduced by Japanese government this year. The first part shows the functions of Paro. So Paro has many kinds of sensors. I'll explain some details later. Paro responds to touch, talk, some others. And this is a scene at a nursing home in Seattle, in the US. And they got Paro by the fund of the federal government of the US as like free. And they, this is a VA hospital in the US too. This is a pediatric ICU in Sweden, Karolinska Institute. And this is a picture from Poland. They are Ukrainian refugees. And as for the model of the Paro, it's a baby seal in Canada. And so baby seal is very cute. But I thought the shape is very attractive to hold or like to hug to hug it. And the current Paro is the 9th generation. And let me explain about functions. As for the size, it's about 2 feet or 55 centimeter. And its weight is about 2.5 kilogram, like 6 pounds. And Paro has 3 microphones for speech recognition and sound localization. In Europe, one Paro recognizes 5 languages: English, French, German, Italian, and Dutch. In Japan, Paro recognizes Japanese. And the Paro has 2 light sensors, but Paro doesn't have a CCD camera because of the privacy issue. A lot of people concerned about the CCD camera if robots have, especially domestic robots have the camera. And inside Paro has posture sensor and temperature sensor. And the temperature sensor is used to control his warm body temperature. And the whole body is covered by tactile sensors. Whiskers are sensors too. And as for the fur, in order for Paro to be used at like ICU or like acute care settings, so it consists of silver ion. It's like gold, silver, bronze, silver ion, like Ag+. That can kill bacteria and virus. So it's very safe. And the Paro has 7 actuator systems that move silently. It can cope with strong force by human beings. And the Paro has learning functions, two kinds of learning functions. One is name, the other is behaviors. So through interaction with Paro gradually learns a new name. If you talk to Paro, call Paro with new name. And also being stroked is good for Paro, and being hit is bad for Paro. So Paro tries to be stroked by the owner. So through interaction with the owner, Paro gradually changes its characters to be liked by the owner. This is the inside. And each Paro is handmade for the quality, because Paro should be accepted by people in order to have therapeutic effect. So acceptance is very important. And if you visit the factory, each Paro has different face from other Paros. And in terms of art, Paro was exhibited at many museums. It's in Louvre, Paris, MoMA in New York. It's Anthropology Museum in Paris, Design Museum in London, Victoria and Albert Museum in London too. Now they collected Paro. And it's in Spain, Germany, and in Norway, they opened a new national museum in the last year, and they are exhibiting Paro there. So Paro has been used in more than 30 countries. There are about 7,500 Paros, and Japan is the most so far. But there are some cultural differences. In Japan, a lot of people bought Paro as companion or pet at home. So half of the users are individuals, and another half are like institutions. And as for Europe, Denmark was the first adopter of Paro because they evaluated Paro in dementia care in the national project, and they found Paro was very effective. And now, I think more than 90% of the local governments or municipalities have already adopted Paro in the dementia care in Denmark. And also, they use Paro for people with disabilities too. And in the UK, they have nice guideline, and they have 5 categories. One is dementia, and they listed Paro as a non-pharmacological therapy and with high quality evidence. And in the US, Paro was classified as biofeedback medical device in class 2 in 2009. And after accumulated the clinical evidence, in 2018, Medicare and Medicaid, that's public medical insurance, and also private medical insurance started to accept reimbursement. And for elderly facilities, especially skilled nursing facilities, now the federal government fund, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Service, support 100% of the cost of purchasing Paro for them. There are some other countries. So as for the clinical evidence, they showed that the interaction with Paro improved moods of the people, quality of life, anxiety, pain, depression, sleep, stress, loneliness, pleasure, engagement, and so on. And also, interaction with Paro improved communication and sociability. And that reduced the agitation, aggression, walking about in the case of the people with dementia or like PTSD. And that reduced risk of falling and also burden of care for the people. And we can expect to reduce a lot of psychotropic medications. So Paro can be prescribed for biofeedback therapy in the US. Patients can be with dementia, cancer, PTSD, brain injury, Parkinson's disease, and so on. And if they are diagnosed as pain, anxiety, depression, insomnia, agitation, that include behavioral issues, then biofeedback therapy with Paro can be prescribed with some CPT codes. As I said, so public medical insurance accept reimbursement. And they have higher payment. The payment become almost double. So using Paro is much better for therapists or prescribers. And Paro was introduced in a cartoon, like Simpson. I'll briefly show you.
Bricks have gotten smaller, not in physical size.
Image of robots in the US. So Paro has been used there. But the elderly people become energized.
I represent the Eternal Valley Funeral Home, and I'm here to talk about an extremely unpleasant subject. People continuing to live.
If we don't have a frickin' funeral soon, people, you can say goodbye to Howard's Flowers.
Calm down, Howard Jr. Now here is the zip, the zap, and the zing. We're gonna rewire Charlie Lovable here into the greatest threat to seniors' lives since nursing homes themselves. Switcheroo.
So that's the image of negative part of robot and artificial intelligence. But after watching this, I changed the material of the body of Paro to be polycarbonate, to be armed, like bulletproof. So Paro is very strong and robust. And Paro has been used for veterans who have PTSD and dementia. This is California, in California.
Can also lead with elderly patients.
Sorry.
One problem with animal therapy is that it becomes more difficult with elderly patients because of their limited physical mobility. PTSD can also lead to other problems. An official study has found that veterans diagnosed with the disorder are almost twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's or dementia later in life than veterans without PTSD. Experts at the Department of Veteran Affairs were eager to find a substitute
cleaning
for
protocol
live
for
animals. That's how they
disinfection.
came across the Paro project.
We encourage the alcohol.
Dr. Jeffrey Lane specializes in the treatment of PTSD and dementia. He describes the robot's role at his facility.
Paro it's just kind of become part of, it's just become one of a number of non-pharmacological interventions that we use with residents around here. And staff kind of are, I mean, obviously we have pills that we give our residents to help them calm down and help them with pain and all that. But staff, all of us are, have a lot of pressure, and rightfully so, to try and avoid using medications where possible and use, non-medication alternatives.
Therapists at the facility undertook a 10-month study to investigate the effectiveness of Paro. 14 patients were observed during 40 sessions with the robot. The patients' changes in behavior were recorded. They were then correlated with adjustments in the dosage of medication they were taking for pain or mental instability.
She's talking to you. She's soft, isn't she?
Yeah. Hi, Betty.
85-year-old Nicholas Georgiantis served 4 years in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. He suffered from PTSD over a long period of time and eventually developed dementia. He arrived at the center about 6 months ago and is undergoing therapy with Paro.
Remember when we brought her to your room before? You like to pet her?
Because it's on. He opens.
Yeah. She opens and closes her eyes. Because she's looking at you.
The bedridden veteran usually shows very little signs of activity, but when presented with Paro, he perks up. The baby seal draws positive responses from other patients who spend time with it.
Can I put her on your lap?
Even when patients understand this is no live creature,
Perfect.
they seem overwhelmed by its sheer cuteness and soft, cuddly feel.
Looking at you.
So does this guy
For
remind
now,
you of-
patient interaction with the robot is limited to 30 minutes per session. Dr. Lane and his team are planning to gradually increase the duration of the sessions to see if that will lead to even better results.
I think I'm in love.
So Paro improved the kind of conditions of the veterans who have dementia and also PTSD. And let me skip many slides. There were a lot of randomized control trials, and one of them is in the US. So there were 61 elderly people who are with dementia at dementia care units. And there are two groups, with Paro and without Paro group. And the without Paro group had ordinary care. And with Paro group had interaction with Paro for 20 minutes in one session, and 3 times a week for 12 weeks, 3 months. And as a result, the Paro group improved anxiety, depression, pain, and stress significantly. And also, they used 30% less medication as needed for anxiety. And the Paro's effect continued for 5 hours, 2 hours longer than the medication. And the cost of psychotropic medication in the US is that for one person with dementia, it costs about $1,500 per month. So reducing medication reduces a lot of cost too. And there are some systematic reviews, and one of them were in 2019. And there were 7 randomized controlled trials on Paro. And as a result, interaction with Paro, they were all with dementia. And the interaction with Paro improved the BPSD, and also agitation, depression, and some other BPSD too. And Paro worked in one-on-one session and also in group session. So Paro can be used even at home care. So he is in agitation, but usually he was given the psychotropic medication to improve this situation. But after having Paro, or they use Paro at the facility to calm him down. So first, the therapist brought Paro and gave it to the patient. Then he stopped screaming and started to talk. I have to stop my video. But basically, Paro is used to calm him down, to do something next, for like having lunch, dinner, bathing, and so on. And also, he can communicate with therapist at the time. And next one is wandering. The lady is walking about. But the interaction with Paro can improve her mood. So she has anxiety. Then she walk around. But the interaction with Paro calm her down, and she can stay at the table. That can stop her wandering. And that is a reduction of the risk of falling too. So she has a nice smile. So next one is Parkinson's disease. So she's moving her body. She cannot control her body well. But with Paro, her legs are still moving, but she can control her upper body very well, and she has a nice smile. So I'll skip many slides. So yeah, this is the end of my talk. Thank you very much. Do you accept any questions, or should I just move? Yeah, first. Yeah, please.
I'm just wondering, what are the kind of objections that you... Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you for the presentation. What are the kind of objections that you get from medical professionals when trying to promote this kind of non-orthodox kind of practice?
Yeah, so some people concerned about robots or technologies, but once they interact with Paro, they quickly understand the benefit of Paro, and they would like to try to use Paro. And but especially during the COVID-19, so people concerned about the infection prevention and control. But we explained the protocol to clean and disinfect Paro's fur. So even during the COVID-19, Paro has been used at hospitals, even at the pediatric ICU or acute care, acute hospitals too. So the communication is very important.
I would be curious to know a bit more about the oral communication with Paro, for example, if Paro has access to the internet or not, and whether Paro can read stories to the patient, to tell a story to a patient, their oral abilities of Paro.
Yeah, Paro recognizes some words, but they are very limited. So people tend to talk to Paro or about as like talking to Paro to baby or like pet. So their conversation is very simple. So Paro recognizes some words, but not like a long context.
Have you considered that?
I think it's not necessary to have the function. I mean, in the case of Paro, yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Kudos with the Simpsons appearance. That's great to see. I wondered, I think it may have been in the end of the presentation, any work with neurodivergence, with autism, with young people with autism? Thank you.
Yes. So in the case of the children with autism, Down syndrome, and so on, yeah, Paro can be used to training the social skill of them. And also, Paro can improve their behavioral issues too. For example, some children have like ADHD, so they are moving up a lot. But they interact with Paro, and they calm down, and they can stay in a good mood. Something like that. The last question?
Thank you very much for the presentation, and I understand that you have that very long that research activities. I see that your Paro is ninth generation. So
yes.
that's how about the future of that new Paro or the coming new Paros?
Yes, so we still need to accumulate a lot of clinical evidence in different types of patients and also ages and also situations too. So we still need to continue to conduct clinical trials with medical professionals. And also, I'd like to prepare the different type of Paro depending on the some purpose of usage of Paro. So, but we need to get some feedback from practical users in order to develop such kind of specialized Paro. Yeah, so while communicating with users, I think we continue to develop Paro.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see that.